What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the #1 comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today, I will be reviewing Love is Blind. We're in season 2, and this is actually episode 2. And this episode is called Love Triangles, and there are definitely some love triangles going on. So before I get started, for those who are new to my channel, just to say thank you for viewing my channel. You sign up. You're part of the Dub family, but here, as the #1 commenter, the comments are where it's at. You know, I don't reach out and beg, say, please like and subscribe, or I don't do none of that. But I do need you in those comments, because to me, that's what it's all about. We get down in those comments, laugh, have fun, debate, learn, all that good stuff. So again, I need y'all in those comments if you rocking with J Dub. And the channel's motto is say what you say. So when you get down in them comments, however it come out, how you feel, unpopular, popular opinion, say what you say. Get down in those comments. So let's start off with the episode. We start off because we picked up where we left off from episode 1. Nick and Danielle, they're meeting for the first time after he proposed. And Danielle said something that was completely alarming to me. She said that she was in love with Nick and he is absolutely her best friend. Now, let me give them the max time. Maybe they've been talking for a week or a couple of days, few days, but they've never met. They've never been through anything. I don't know. I just don't get that. I mean, I get that, hey, we connected. We talked all night. We had so much fun. I think they're a great person so far, but I'm in love, and this is my best friend. Okay, we're going to keep going. So when they finally meet, they both were very excited, and they kissed about 241 times with them little bird pecks like like Noy and Steve from Married at First Sight do. And it just reminded me of like a conjugal visit. They couldn't keep their hands off each other. They couldn't talk without kissing. Like, ooh, ooh, they was just all into each other. So, we know how that goes when it starts in, let's say, the lust or the passion, because how much do they really know about each other? It's going to fizzle fast. So we're going to be just here waiting to see. And let's go to the next couple. Well, I can't really call them couples because they ain't locked down yet, but the next situation. But really, when they said why they named this love triangles, because we got like 3 love triangles going on. So the first love triangle is with Jarrett and Ayanna and Mallory. And the next love triangle is Mallory, Jarrett, and Salvador. And then the third triangle is Shaina, and Natalie. So pretty much they going in circles, fighting for each other or fighting for their position, and by process of elimination, I guess the loser is going to have to choose somebody else or go home. So we see Jarrett and Ayanna. They're in their pods, and the vibe between them I get off is pretty much it comes off like real surfacey. And you can see off the bat that Ayanna is like way more into Jarrett than he is into her. And while they talking, Jarrett finds out that Ayanna isn't really a person who is very affectionate. She when she says, "Well, I can be," and he's like, "You don't like kissing?" And in his confessional, he pretty much made it known that like, oh, that just turned everything off. I mean, and that's a real thing. Those are people's love language. So it is especially those type of things are hard for somebody to receive, for somebody who doesn't believe or see that as a love language. So I get why he's he's a bit disappointed. The man wants hugs and kisses all day, and she don't want to give none. Yeah, that can be problematic, and that happens in a lot of relationships where we're not speaking each other's love language, and it's really hard for a person who does not, speak that love language to give that type of love. So we'll see how that go. But when we go to the next part of Love Triangle, we're talking about Jarrett and Mallory. He's like way more intentional when it comes to Mallory. when Jarrett speaks to Mallory, he wants to know things of like, let her know like, hey, last night I dreamt about you. He can go into detail about the dreams. I can't even remember my dreams if I wake up and don't even repeat them. So the man, everybody's different, but he goes in all this type of detail about dreaming about her. He even wants to know her what type of ring that she wants. So he got some plans for her. So to me, Mallory, as far as she receives the information, she gives Jarrett like just enough to keep coming back. She's not like committing to him or saying indefinite like, hey, I want to be with you. But as I said, Jarrett is way more into Mallory than he is Ayanna, and it shows up a lot. And then we go to Mallory. Now she's really drawn to the guy Salvador, the quiet guy who's he's in some type of travel situation. He's a tour guide or something, or bus. I don't know what he do, but something with travel or touring. And I really believe Mallory is into Salvador because they have like the shared Hispanic heritage. Because I don't really see them fitting unless like Mallory is wanting something different than she had before in relationships. And pretty much when they talk, Mallory's just leading the conversation, and they even do, you can see like the differences in their personality. Like they play the infamous game like they do on all the shows, Never Have I Ever. And without surprise, laid back Salvador, he pretty much ain't done nothing but maybe get a tattoo, and it's a tame tattoo because it's like little dots of him and his siblings. But other than that, he hasn't done anything like wild, or having sex outside, or just doing different stuff. Everything that Mallory has already done. So I'm not surprised. Salvador gives me that low kind of energy, and it really just doesn't match with Mallory. So it's something, because I have to touch that, because what else could she be really attracted to as far as like him being Hispanic? Because that is important to some people's culture, to be with a person of same heritage. So I just don't see it for them at all. And so we go to to Natalie, because we go into love triangles, and she's really upset with Doofy, aka Shane, and she's unclear about like how sure he is about her, because like Shane has a tendency just to go off on a tangent and just get very imaginative, and he almost like he commits without saying. And he continues to make the mistake of reassuring Natalie over and over again, like, she's the only one. And I'm thinking like, yeah, you can tell someone how you feel in this process, but you don't have to get locked down so soon if you have another person in interest. But Shane reassures her that like, hey, you're the one, you're the only one, and you want to be my girlfriend. And I'm like, Shane, Doofy, you got Shaina over there who checking for you, and you like her, and why are you locking in so soon with Natalie? And I just know that's a mistake. So as soon as Natalie gets back, who's the first person to ask her a question? It's Shaina, just acting like she's fake concerned, like, hey, how'd your date go in the pod with Shane? And Natalie tells Shane like, hey, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And she's like, oh, then Shane is now depressed. Now she got to take that information and take it back to Shane, because she thought she was in the running, but now he's got a girlfriend. So she's feeling left out. So once Natalie got back, Shaina went, after Natalie got back, Shane got back to the men's quarters, and he had told everybody that like, hey, he's locked down with Natalie. And one thing and the guys wanted to know like, well, we know you're in a love triangle, so confirm like who's your second choice. And Shane was like, well, yeah, who's my second choice? Nunya. And I started laughing. I ain't think Shane talk like that, because he always talk like a surfer dude, or that, but he's saying, hey, none of your business. And that's how it should be for like all the contestants, like we all dating the same people. Why am I giving you my secrets and my intimate conversations of who I'm talking to and what I'm talking about, so you can kind of play your hand on it? So for the first time, Doofy did right. He didn't share who his second runner up was, which is Shaina. But he's got a girlfriend now. So so we knew this was gonna happen. Shane, aka Doofy, meets up with Shaina in the pod, and Shaina wants to get right to it. She's like, well, yeah, I heard you had a girlfriend or whatever. And Doofy goes and like, that's an interesting question. And what does that matter? What does it matter what she says? I mean, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't. Why are we so worried about that? It doesn't matter. And Shaina just wanted to know the truth. And then, finally Doofy comes clean about it and telling her, well, yeah, I got a girlfriend. And rightfully so, Shaina's upset. She's saying like, hey, I like you and everything, but I don't want to be involved if you like lock down or already have a girlfriend. And and Doofy's like, let's just see the process through. Let's just see it through. We're getting to know each other and to see it through. And Shane ain't feeling that. She like, you locked down. You got a woman. So what do we need to continue for? And she just rolled out on him. And I thought that was the right move because he really made his choice. And Doofy is so delusional, thinking that he's already committed to Natalie, and it wouldn't make a difference for him to walk in the room and talk about, hey, honey, what do you got on? Oh, that crop top. Oh, the crop top. That don't make sense to me. You got a girlfriend, according to you, by your choice, but now you want to have pod sex through the wall with somebody else while you got a girlfriend. But okay. All right, let's go on to Deepti and Shake. And I was kind of surprised that Deepti is still interested in Shake because, Shake was really talking, putting those off-putting questions about like, the body image and everything. And I got a feeling she's doing the same thing like Mallory's doing with Salvador. She's kind of linked with Shake because they have a shared heritage of being Indian. And like, that's who she's going to like resonate the most with, somebody of her culture. So, and I'm sure she hadn't probably had too many other connections if they haven't showed us. But surprisingly, again, Shake, once they got in the pod, him and Deepti, he revealed that really all of that projection of body images from him, he used to be a heavy kid, and that he didn't realize, he self-reflected and didn't realize how off-putting that was to kind of project those body images and requirements for somebody he's looking for. And, he was pretty much apologizing to Deepti. And she really felt it. And she felt like that was the, I guess, the piece that, like, removed her wall. And she was, like, all in after that. So, just off that conversation, Shake got Deepti, just being vulnerable about the weight. So, we go back to Shaina. She's fed up with Doofy, so she's going to her second choice, which is Kyle. And they seem to be like hitting it off. They don't have the same kind of rapport that Shaina and Doofy has. But she tries the same kind of moves. They don't have that kind of relationship. But when she get in the pod, she be like, hey, Kyle, what are you wearing? He's like, what am I wearing? That's kind of strange, because they don't talk like that. But, people doing that cut and paste thing. So it really doesn't work. But they seem to be getting along, or they seem to get along pretty good. And seem like, well, hey, it's Doofy's out of the race with Shaina, so she's trying to connect with Kyle. And they seem like they have a flow that they are getting together. But then we find out that Kyle is an atheist. And that's a problem because Shaina is a really religious person. but now her potential fiance doesn't believe in God, which is problematic. And what I was saying to people about, people would never guess the way I saw it or thought. I was like, it's something off about Kyle, just the way he looks, the way he smiles, and especially in his confession when he talks, he's like, and he's got this extra meat up on his forehead, like something's trying to come out. I was like, he's an atheist. I knew it. That boy a demon. He's a demon under that skin. Look at that skin. He got extra skin on his forehead. That's the other forehead, the demon forehead trying to come out. I'm telling you. So, other people wouldn't have guessed that, but that's what I thought. It just didn't look right. So, hey, the man don't believe in God. She's all about God. How is this going to work? She should have got up the same way when she was talking with Doofy. Hey, I got all the information I need. Hey, it's your belief. You don't believe in God? I absolutely do. I live by it. So I'm gone. But she didn't do that. She trying to work it out and just say like, well, how would you think that would affect us in the future? And we're trying to raise children. And, when I try to say grace and he's like, well, I'll just be like at dinner table when we talk to our kids, who is Grace? And it was a joke, but it really wasn't funny to Shaina. And she has every right to be concerned. But at this point, once she's been given that information, it's all on her. So I don't know if it's out of desperation because she's got rejected by Doofy or what, but she's hanging in there. Of course she's bothered. So they leave on that note. And now we see we're now at a new engagement. Since Shake has been so vulnerable off that one thing about him, projecting his body image issues to Deepti, he's ready to pop the question. He's ready. And Shake is Shake. He's going to give his surface proposal to Deepti in the pod. And he just pretty much ends it with, he's saying like, we have a similar background, which we know. That's why like they kind of tied up. And he's saying it's beginning to intertwine and like we have the same story. And you make me feel some kind of way. Like, that's it? That's all you got? Yeah, it's only been a week or so, or a few days, but he could have came strong in that. You make me feel some kind of way. And so that's how he ended his proposal. He wants Deepti to make him the happiest man in the world, and he asked to marry. And of course, Deepti, she's in. That's all she needed. He pretty much apologized and explained why he's obsessed with body image. And they're engaged. So congratulations to the happy couple. Okay. So we go back to Ayanna and Jarrett, and they're in the pods. They're doing their thing with just talking over just differences, and Jarrett asked Ayanna what are deal breakers to her as far as in a marriage that just is just absolute. And she said it's cheating. And she noted to say cheating of any kind, whether it's physical or emotional. So let me put a little pin stick right there. We got to take back to that note. Remember what I said. She said her deal breaker is cheating, emotional or physical. So, they continue to trauma bond in the pod. And of course, as I told you, Ayanna from the previous episode had said she had a rough childhood growing up, and then she had let Jarrett know that she was a victim of a rape when she was 17 years old, and so she's a really guarded person. She doesn't let people get really close to her, and he seemed to be very receptive of it, and he was empathetic in the conversation, which was good. It felt like she was heard. And then now he's telling Ayanna about how he got stabbed up by one of his closest personal friends who he had a problem with. And that's how they kind of locked in. And then Ayanna made the big mistake getting so overwhelmed with romance by trauma bonding. She lets Jarrett know that, like, hey, just talking to you and trauma bonding, I'm choosing you. And what I think that is a really mistake is like in this game or show and in life, is like when women happen to do that, it is okay to put yourself out there to say I'm interested, but when you flat out say I'm straight up choosing you, you don't really know how that man feels. So you put the ball in his court, and now he knows that the energy is coming from you. It's not a huge, it's not likely that he's going to really put forth the effort from then on. He knows, like, I got you. You want me. I didn't put it out there that I want you or exclusively choosing you. Then, I can just have my way and skate. And that's what it kind of looks like, because you can see Jarrett is not fully invested in Ayanna. I know it's early, but he's got eyes for Mallory. And I'm sure that doing that's going to be a mistake. It's going to play out later. So we go to the newly engaged couple, Deepti and Shake. They're going to meet for the first time in person. And when I tell you that meeting was such a cringe-worthy scene, I mean, like, I couldn't unsee it. I didn't want to see it. So they meet up, and describing Deepti is a tall Indian woman. She almost like she could look like she could have some black woman in her, not just Indian, but okay. That's a whole nother topic. But when Shake sees Deepti, I mean, he goes off. He's like, oh my God. Look at that. Look, that, and just grabs her. Look, that booty. Ooh, that booty. I'm like, Shake, I mean, come on now. I mean, it almost sounded like they was in a porno or something. He was just going off, and it didn't seem genuine, and it didn't seem like more so he was happy to see her. He was just like lusting after. He was groping her. Is that how you meet your wife? Because I didn't hear her say she was beautiful or she was gorgeous. It's like, that body. Ooh, that booty. I was like, please turn this off. I always see this, but that's what Shake is. Shake, regardless of what he says, he can't get away from being that person who focuses like strictly on body image. He's straight superficial. He's playing a game. He's playing an act. That's why I said in this setting, people who can put on their representatives well can really thrive in a situation. They can trick people. So Demon Boy Kyle, he meets up with Shaina in the pods, and I mean, off the top, it was really awkward because they just pretty much had a situation where they see they're on two opposite sides of the spectrum as far as religion. And when Shaina comes in, she has an engagement ring box sitting in front of her, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? She didn't seem happy to see that. And before she wanted to even talk about the engagement with Demon Boy Kyle, she was like, hey, we got this thing in between us. He's like, well, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not, you just don't get everything that you want in one person. So I'm not going to let anything hold that back. And Shane is like, no, this is really like a big thing. It's like a deal breaker for real. And he's just not, he ain't hearing it. He's not hearing it at all. He don't care. Because I expect Kyle, the Demon Boy, not to care about the religion thing at all, because he doesn't care about religion. He just seems like something they can work through or get over. It's not something that lives within him or a part of his belief system. He just is a doubter. He doesn't believe that there's a God. So he believes in the Big Bang Theory, and he's still going forward with his proposal to Shaina. He's just saying like, hey, you remind me of my mother. She was very religious. I'm like, that's not a flattering proposal. Shaina's like in shock, but reluctantly, like nobody made her, she went along with it and said yes. And I didn't understand that, because that is a huge deal breaker. That's not something you work through. That was just galaxies away from the from connecting or being together. So as far as the last scene, we got Doofy going back into the pods, and when he just started talking when he walks in the park. I don't know if production is setting him up or he's just living up to his name, Doofy, aka Shane. And he thinks he's talking to Natalie, but it's actually Shaina coming into the pod. And Shaina, she takes the opportunity to get to confessing like, hey, I'm really into you. I know I haven't put it out there before. And Doofy's like, well, why you could have said something like 2 days ago. You could have said something, which is alarming because he didn't confess his love for Natalie. Now he's second guessing his move for her being his girlfriend. Now Shane is showing interest, and he seems like he's really regretting it. And he's like, fuck. He don't know what to do. He's panicking and all that, but he can't do nothing with that because he's locked in with Natalie. So pretty much that's where the episode ends, and they did a good job in naming this episode. This was definitely huge and big on love triangles. So again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me, staying with me, rolling with me. Again, get down in those comments. Tell me what you think. Some things I might have missed, some things you want to say, because again, that's where I live, for those comments. And remember, y'all could be anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me. I really appreciate that, and I really mean it. Episode 3 coming soon.